Ladies, let me tell you something, and I need you to sit down for this one. Pour yourself something warm. Turn the TV off. Because what I'm about to share with you tonight is the kind of thing your mama should have told you. Your auntie should have whispered to you. Your best friend should have pulled you aside and said, but nobody did. So tonight I'm going to. There is a man out there right now lying in his bed, staring at his ceiling. His phone is face down on the nightstand. The room is dark. The house is quiet. And he is thinking. He is thinking about a woman. He is thinking about her voice, her scent, the way she laughs, the way she looked at him the last time they were together. And here's the part that's going to blow your mind, sister. That woman, she didn't call him. She didn't text him 10 times. She didn't send him a picture. She didn't beg for his attention. She sent him one text, one right before she went to sleep. And that one text is echoing in his mind like a song he can't stop humming. That, baby, is the power of the good night text done right. Not the desperate one, not the needy one, not the "are you up?" text at 2 a.m. that makes him roll his eyes. I'm talking about the kind of good night text that plants a seed in his subconscious and grows into an obsession by morning. The kind of text that makes him wake up at 4 a.m. checking his phone. The kind of text that makes him sit up in the middle of the night and say to himself, what is it about her? Tonight, I'm going to give you 5 of them. 5 texts. 5 weapons of feminine magnetism that most women will never know about. And by the time we're done, you're going to understand exactly why some women have men calling them at sunrise, showing up unannounced, canceling plans with other people, and rearranging their whole life around her. It's not because she's the prettiest. It's not because she has the biggest body. It's not because she's playing games. It's because she knows how to speak to the part of a man that no other woman is speaking to. So sit back, take a breath, and let me break this down for you the way only a big brother can. See, here's what men are wired to do, and I want you to really hear me on this. A man's mind is a battlefield of impressions. He is bombarded all day long. He is bombarded at work by deadlines. He is bombarded on the street by other women. He is bombarded on his phone by every social media platform designed to steal his attention. So by the time night falls, by the time his head hits that pillow, most of the noise is finally gone. And in that silence, in that quiet, whoever occupies his thoughts wins. Whoever occupies his thoughts owns the last real estate of his day. And baby, that real estate is priceless. Most women are trying to reach a man during the day. They're texting him at 10 a.m. They're calling him at lunch. They're double texting him at 3 p.m. when he's in a meeting. And then they wonder why he seems distant. It's because during the day, sister, you are competing with the whole world for his attention. But at night, the world goes quiet. And that is when a woman with wisdom slides into his mind like a whisper he can't ignore. Now, let me be clear about something before I go any further. This is not about manipulation. This is not about games. This is not about tricking a man into thinking about you. If a man is not the right man, no text in the world is going to fix that. And I don't want you sending texts to men who have already shown you they don't value you. What I'm teaching you tonight is for the woman who has a good man or a man of interest, and she wants to move from the friend zone or the situationship zone or the he seems interested but he's not consistent zone, into the he is obsessed and he cannot stop thinking about her zone. You feel me? Good. Let's go. Text number 1. And I want you to write this one down, sister. Grab a pen, grab a napkin, grab whatever you have. Because this first one is what I call the sensory anchor. And it works every single time. The sensory anchor is a good night text that ties his memory of you to a specific physical sensation. Because here's what men don't tell you, baby. Men are visual, yes, but men are also deeply, deeply sensory. They remember the smell of your perfume long after you've left the room. They remember the exact temperature of your skin when you leaned into them. They remember what your voice sounded like when you whispered something in their ear. And when you tie your goodnight text to a sensory memory, you don't just pop into his mind. You take over his mind. Here's how it sounds. Good night. Just crawled into bed and I could still smell your cologne on my pillow. Sleep well. That's it. That's the whole text. Short, clean, simple. But look at what you just did to that man's brain. You just told him 3 things without saying them. You told him he was in your bed. You told him his presence lingers even when he's gone. And you told him you were thinking about him as you drifted off to sleep. Sister, a man will lose his mind over that text. He will read it 4 times. He will put his phone down. He will pick it up again. He will read it a 5th time. And then he will lay there imagining you in that bed, breathing in his scent, thinking about him. You've been sitting there sending him things like, hey, how was your day? Or just checking in, or miss you. And I'm not saying that to shame you. I'm saying that to wake you up, because those texts don't do anything. Those texts don't stir him. Those texts don't move him. Those texts fade the second he reads them. But the sensory anchor, baby, that text lives in his mind rent-free for the next 12 hours. I knew a woman. Let's call her Maya. Maya had been talking to a man for about 3 months. He was interested, but not committed. He would go days without texting her. He'd show up, disappear, show up again. She was tired. She was frustrated. She was about to walk away. And I sat her down and I told her exactly what I'm telling you right now. I said, Maya, stop trying to reach him during the day. Stop begging for daytime attention. Own the night. Send him 1 text right before you go to sleep and make it a sensory anchor. She did it. She sent him a text that said, good night. My hands still smell like the cinnamon from that coffee shop we went to. Wish you were here to remind me why I keep going back. That was it. She put her phone down. She went to sleep. She woke up the next morning to 7 messages. 7, he called her at 8 a.m. He asked her out for that same afternoon. He showed up early. He brought her flowers. And 2 weeks later, he asked her to be his woman. Now, was it magic? No, it was psychology. It was strategy. It was a woman finally understanding that men don't fall in love with logic. Men fall in love with feeling. And when you attach yourself to a feeling in his body, sister, you have unlocked something most women will never even know exists. So that's text number 1, the sensory anchor. Tie yourself to a smell, a taste, a touch, a temperature. Make him feel you even when you're not there, and keep it short. I cannot stress this enough. 2 sentences, 3 at the most. If your goodnight text is a paragraph, you've already lost. Men don't read paragraphs at 11 p.m. They feel 1 line and it echoes. Let me move on to text number 2, because this one is even more dangerous. And I use that word on purpose. Dangerous. Because when you send this text, you are pulling on a psychological string inside a man that he does not even know he has. Text number 2 is what I call the unfinished thought. And here is what it sounds like. I was going to tell you something today, but I lost my nerve. Good night, handsome. That's it. That's the whole message. And I want you to understand what that does to a man's mind. Because a man's mind, baby, is built for problem solving. It is built for completion. It is built for closing loops. When you open a loop in his mind and then walk away, you have just started a fire that will burn all night long. He is going to lay there and he is going to wonder, what was she going to tell me? Was it something good? Was it something bad? Does she like me more than I thought? Is she about to end things? Is she about to confess something? Is there another man? He is going to run through every possibility. He is going to want to text you back immediately. Some of them will. Some of them will try to play it cool and wait until morning. But either way, he is not sleeping the same tonight. Not after that text. Now here's where most women mess up. Most women, when they use this technique, they cave. He texts back and says, what were you going to tell me? And they immediately spill everything. Do not do that, sister. Do not open the loop and then close it in the same night. If he asks, you respond with something like, tell you tomorrow, sleep good. And you turn your phone off. You go to bed. You let him marinate. You let that unfinished sentence rattle around in his head for the next 8 hours like a coin in a dryer. Because here's what happens the next day. He wakes up. He grabs his phone. He is checking to see if you texted him. He is scrolling to your name. And now you have flipped the entire dynamic. He is chasing. He is curious. He is wondering. He is invested. And when you finally do tell him whatever it was, and it can be something small, it can be something as simple as, I was going to tell you that you look really good in that gray shirt yesterday. It doesn't have to be dramatic. But by the time you deliver the punchline, he is already sold. He is already leaning in. He is already yours. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Because you've been on the other side of this. You've had a man leave you on read, and it made you crazy. You've had a man start a conversation and disappear, and it made you obsess. Well, sister, that same psychology works on him. It's just that most women don't know how to use it with grace because they weaponize it out of anger. And that never works. A woman who uses this out of insecurity comes off as manipulative. A woman who uses this out of confidence comes off as intriguing. And there is a world of difference between those two energies. Let me tell you about another woman I know. Let's call her Rachel. Rachel was dealing with a man who ran hot and cold. 1 week, he'd be all in. The next week, he'd go silent for 4 days. She'd send him long texts trying to figure out what she did wrong. She'd send him voice memos. She'd send him pictures. She was exhausting herself, and she was exhausting him. So I told her, Rachel, tomorrow night, right before bed, send him one text. Just one. There's something I've been wanting to say to you, but tonight's not the night. Sweet dreams. And I told her, no matter what he sends back, do not respond until noon the next day. She did it. She held her ground. He blew her phone up for 2 hours. He called her 3 times. He sent her a voice memo begging her to just tell him what it was, and she did not respond. She went to sleep. She woke up. She had breakfast. She showered. She got her day going. And at noon, she texted him back, sorry, was busy this morning. What I wanted to tell you is I appreciate you. That's it. Just wanted you to hear it. Baby, that man was at her door within the hour because she had done something no other woman in his life had ever done. She held a piece of herself back. She created space. She created mystery. She created hunger. And that is what men are starving for in a world where women have been trained to give it all up front. So that's text number 2. The unfinished thought. Open the loop. Walk away. Let him lay in that loop all night long. Now, let me get to text number 3, because this one is my personal favorite, and I want you to lean in for this. This one is what I call the memory ambush. And here's why it's called that. Because it ambushes him with a memory of a moment you two shared that he probably didn't even realize you noticed. Here's what it sounds like. Good night. I keep thinking about the way you looked at me when you thought I wasn't paying attention. That's it. Read it again. Good night. I keep thinking about the way you looked at me when you thought I wasn't paying attention. Now, sister, do you have any idea what that does to a man? Any idea? Let me tell you. It tells him three things. It tells him you notice him. It tells him you notice the parts of him he tries to hide. And it tells him you found something beautiful in a moment he didn't even know was being seen. Men walk through this world feeling invisible in ways women do not fully understand. Men are seen for their money. Men are seen for their status. Men are seen for their bodies. But rarely, and I mean rarely, is a man seen for the tender little moments in between. The way his eyes soften when he's around you. The way he glances at you when you're not looking. The way his shoulders relax when you sit next to him. Those are the moments that make him a man. And when a woman notices those moments and reflects them back to him, sister, you have handed that man his own soul on a silver platter, and he will never forget it. Now let me warn you about something. Do not fake this. Do not send this text just to send it. If you cannot think of a real moment, do not use this technique tonight. Wait until you have one, because men can feel the difference between a real observation and a manufactured compliment. A real observation lands. A manufactured compliment slides right off. So take your time. Think back. Was there a moment when he was quiet and you saw something in him? Was there a moment when he thought no one was watching and he did something sweet? Was there a moment when his guard came down and you glimpsed the little boy inside the grown man? That is your text. That is your ammunition. That is your memory ambush. Because here is the brutal truth about men that no one wants to say out loud. Men are lonelier than they let on. Men are tender in ways they will never admit. Men are hungry to be seen, not just for what they do, but for who they are. And when you show him, you see him, really see him, the way his mother saw him, the way no woman has bothered to see him since, you become irreplaceable. You become the woman he compares every other woman to for the rest of his life. And 10 years later, when he's married to someone else, he will still think of you at 11 p.m. sometimes. That is the power of the memory ambush. I could tell you 100 stories about this text. I've seen it turn friendships into relationships. I've seen it turn situationships into marriages. I've seen it bring men back who had been gone for months. Because when a man reads a text like that, he does not just feel desired. He feels understood. And understanding, baby, is more powerful than desire. Desire fades. Understanding roots. So that's text number 3, the memory ambush. Find one real moment. Reflect it back. Send it right before bed. Then let him lay there in the dark, replaying that moment through your eyes and falling more in love with the woman who saw him when no one else did. All right. Breathe with me for a moment, sister, because I want to make sure you're really hearing what I'm telling you tonight. I don't want you to just take these texts and start firing them off. I want you to understand the philosophy underneath them. Because if you understand the philosophy, you can create 1,000 more texts of your own. But if you only memorize the words, you'll run out of ammunition by next week. The philosophy is this. A man does not think about you all night because you were available. He does not think about you all night because you were needy. He does not think about you all night because you sent him a naked picture. Trust me on that one, baby. A picture at night gets you 5 minutes of his attention, but a well-placed sentence gets you 8 hours. A man thinks about you all night because you left something unfinished in him, because you sparked something in him, because you handed him a feeling and then walked away before he could hand it back. That is the philosophy. That is the entire game. You are not trying to fill him. You are trying to open him. And once he is open, sister, he will do the rest of the work himself. Now let me get to text number 4, because this one is a little spicier and I want you to be ready for it, because this one is going to require confidence. This one is going to require you to stand in your power and not flinch. Text number 4 is what I call the confident invitation. And here is what it sounds like. Good night. I don't need much in this life, but I do need a man who knows how to hold a woman's hand in public. Sleep well, King. Now let me unpack that for you, because there is a lot happening in that one sentence, and I don't want you to miss any of it. First, you told him you are a woman of standards. You said, I don't need much. That tells him you are not high maintenance. That tells him you are not chasing luxury. That tells him you are grounded. But then you followed it up with, but I do need. And that phrase, but I do need, is a boundary. It is a soft but firm boundary. It tells him there is a line. It tells him there are non-negotiables. It tells him you are not one of these women who will accept anything as long as he sticks around. Second, you gave him a specific requirement that is not about money, not about looks, not about status. A man who knows how to hold a woman's hand in public. That is emotional. That is masculine. That is deeply romantic. And that is something that any real man can provide if he chooses to. So you have not made him feel inadequate. You have made him feel called to a higher version of himself. And that, sister, is what men are secretly desperate for. Men want a woman who calls them up, not a woman who tears them down. Third, you closed with sleep well, King. You called him king. You called him king right after you told him what a king looks like. So now he is going to lay there and he is going to ask himself, am I that man? Am I the man she is describing? Am I holding her hand in public? Am I claiming her? Am I proud of her? And if he is not, sister, he is going to feel a fire in his chest to become that man, because you gave him a target. You gave him a standard, and a real man rises to a standard, baby. He not run from it. Now here is where most women mess up. They confuse standards with demands. A demand is aggressive. A standard is magnetic. When you send a man a text that says, you need to start doing this and this and this, or I'm leaving, that is a demand. That will push him away. But when you send a man a text that says, this is the kind of love I'm building my life around, and I hope you're the man to walk with me into it, that is a standard, and that will pull him in. You feel the difference, don't you? Let me tell you about a woman I know. Let's call her Tasha. Tasha had been in a situationship for 11 months, sister, and she was tired of it. He would not commit. He would not introduce her to his people. He would not put her on his social media. He would take her out, but only to places where no one would see them. He was a hider, and Tasha was fed up. She was about to write him a long, angry text listing everything he was doing wrong. And I stopped her. I said, Tasha, do not write that text. That text will make you feel better for 5 minutes, and then he will disappear for good. Write this text instead. And I gave her a version of what I just gave you. She sent it. He read it. He did not respond that night. She held her ground. 2 days later, he called her. He said, I've been thinking about what you sent. Can we talk? They met up. He apologized. He told her he had been scared. And within a month, they were public. Within 3 months, they were engaged. Not because she yelled, not because she cried, not because she begged, because she stood in her worth and painted him a picture of the man he could become if he chose her fully. That is the confident invitation. That is text number 4. Now, I want you to understand something before I move on. I'm not telling you to send this text to a man who has shown you over and over again that he does not care. If a man has ghosted you, if a man has cheated on you, if a man has treated you like a placeholder, no text is going to save that situation. And frankly, you should not want to save it. You should want to walk away and make room for a man who values you. But if you have a good man who is close but not fully in, this text will pull him the rest of the way in. And if it doesn't, then you will know he was never going to be the one. And you can walk away with your dignity fully intact. Either way, sister, you win. Now let me take a moment here and speak to something deeper, because I don't want this to just be about texting. I want this to